let's go ahead and speak on the situation regarding Miss, what's her name? Kehlani. Kehlani got a chance to go over to the Morning Hustle to do an interview, and I got a chance to check out that interview. But I had to stop watching the interview because it was just like it wasn't giving. It was like it wasn't that good. It wasn't a good interview. It wasn't a good interview at all. Okay. In the interview, you will see where Kehlani has her arms folded. Seems like she really wasn't interested in having much of a conversation. Not sure if anything happened prior to her sitting down, but she just seemed like she was over the interview. She seemed like she was forced to do the interview. She just was not interested, right? So she actually, once that interview ended up airing, she actually, took to social media to speak on it. She took to social media to give her thoughts about it. So I'm going to share my screen so that we can like get into what Miss Girl had to say. All right, let me go back over here. And all right, cool. All right, you guys. So let's do it like this so you all can see what is being said over here with Miss Kehlani. All right, so Kehlani says, and mind y'all, she did this interview with the Morning Hustle with L'Oreal, and I believe it's DJ Headcracker or something like that. She did that interview. I think she just recently dropped an album or some new music. And in the interview, she just seemed so off and standoffish and like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the reason why. Like she didn't want to be there. Right. So what is being said, at least this is from Kehlani's page. She says, I see that interview was still released. I've been advised to speak. I was going to remain quiet. Every other recent interview has been super bubbly, warm, informative, and open from start to finish. This interview was cringy, a lot of mockery and invasive as all right. She goes on to say, this is why your favorite artists always stop doing interviews or people don't want to speak anymore. I'm only speaking to select few folks anymore who really care about me deeply and have always been in my corner. All right. At the fans, and she says, sharing clips out of context doesn't help me. All of the comments on the YouTube video, though, agree it was a terrible interview. And in my opinion, it's pretty evident. Love you guys. Check out all the other stuff from this week. The awesome ones were awesome. All right. So this is what Miss Kehlani ended up saying. Now, once she put this statement out, L'Oreal decided that she was actually going to go on her page and give her viewpoint. So let's go ahead and get to that. I'm hoping y'all can hear.
First in the interview, arms folded, arms crossed, whatever the case, whatever have you. Now she decided to take to social media after this interview came out, and I'm gonna tell you our side. She basically said, "I see this interview was still released. I've been advised to speak. I was going to remain quiet. Every other recent interview has been bubbly, warm, informative, and open from start to finish. This interview was cringy, a lot of mockery, and invasive. This is why your favorite artists always stop doing interviews or people don't want to speak anymore. I'm only speaking to a select few folks who deeply care about me and always been in my corner, and the fans. Sharing clips out of context doesn't help me. All the comments on YouTube and the video agree with me. It was a whack interview, and in my opinion, it's pretty evident." Now, it was a whack interview. Now, let me tell you why the interview was whack. When Kehlani first came in, her and her team came in about an hour and a half early before our scheduled interview. This is a syndicated morning show. We cannot stop the show in order to do that in the interview, arms folded, arms crossed, whatever the case, whatever have you. Now, she decided to take to social media after this in order to do an interview for you because you came early. Right. First and foremost, you walk in the door, even though we still did do your interview a little earlier. You walk in the door, you did not speak to anybody in the room. Am I wrong or am I right?
Nah, she was a little cold and distant coming in.
She came in cold and distant, nasty, sat in her chair and folded her arms. Now, as professionals we are, we continue to go on. We're very familiar with the fact that she goes by certain pronouns, and we know this because we listened to Sway's interview.
Like, wow, she's really blossomed. They really blossomed.
You can use she too.
I can use she. Okay. Well, give me effort for trying. Come on, man.
I appreciate that.
Okay, just off the back, so it's okay if if I'm mixing up the pronouns.
Yeah, I use both she and they. It's interchangeable. I'm not like I'm not tripping too hard on either.
I lost sleep on that.
I have a lot of people that sit me down. They're like, I just have a serious question, like which one? And I'm like, well, I
started to do an interview for you.
It's all good.
It's optional.
Okay, it's optional. But I really do appreciate it. You guys are the first people to like make that emphasis in an interview.
Really?
Okay, now let me say, because I do my research, and I heard that part in the interview, and hey, I wanted her to feel comfortable. I wanted to do the knowledge and meet them where they were at.
That's right. Now here was the first thing that was said to her, right? This was the intro.
Not the very first thing we said, because we said hello when she came in, even though she was still going the distance. But popping the interview off, here's how it popped off. All right, welcome to the Morning Hustle. They are here, and they is she, and she is with us. She go by the name of Kehlani.
Now, according to...
All right, welcome to the Morning Hustle. They are here, and they is she, and she is with us. She go by the name of Kehlani. New album, Blue Water Road, is out right now, and it is quite the vibe, man. Make some noise one time. How you feeling, Queen?
I'm tired. How are you doing?
Trying my best to not be tired as well.
Right.
It's been a hell of a run, so much content to consume, and I can imagine, it's been a whirlwind for you, because, last time you dropped the album, pandemic time, doing interviews for the comfort of your home, and now you got to jump on planes and do stuff. How are you handling it all?
I'm chilling.
Yeah, it's not like an adjustment, because I know for me, I had to get back into getting dressed again and things of that nature. I'll be with pajama pants on the bottom and party on the top, looking good for Zoom, but now you're out. It's early in the morning. You got the new project, Blue Water Road, and you're letting people into your mind a little bit now.
Yep.
Hey, welcome to the...
All right, y'all saw that part, right? She seemed like she really didn't want to be there, but I'll give my thoughts in a second. So she also goes on to make this statement here. She says, I didn't come any earlier than I was supposed to. I had just finished Young Jock's radio show, really good energy. I definitely said hi to everyone. I sat down and immediately ODing with the pronouns. Well, I guess you meant to say pronouns felt like a mockery every time I started to open something. Some SHI, I guess she meant to say came. Okay. Asked me if I was scissoring my friend, asked me if I ever heard of my own girlfriend, and much more. I sat through this entire interview really embarrassed and still only said no more interviews after. That post did not come until the next day. That was used for clout. I have done really amazing, beautiful interviews the entire week, and even that morning right before. Okay. She says, I was perfectly fine when I walked in. And every single person that came in with me felt how wrong all of it was. She says, getting up and leaving would have been a cop out. Cussing someone out would have been awful. I did my best while protecting my energy and being mocked to my face. Okay, so that is what it is that Miss Kehlani had to say. Now, when I first started the interview, I started watching it. And as soon as, Head Crack went into his stuff, seems like he was bubbly, right? Sometimes people feed off of other people's energy. And Miss Kehlani just seemed like she wasn't here for it. So I don't know what could have happened prior to, but it made me think she didn't want to be there for whatever reason, and that she could have possibly been forced to do this interview. Now, I feel like both of them are out of line. I'm not vindicating, I ain't gonna say out of line, but if we're gonna find error in the interview, I'm gonna find error on both of them. And it's not just gonna be, they were unprofessional. No, they really did try to keep the interview going. The issue was they did have some things, right? I don't think they overdid it on the pronouns, but here's the thing for me. The pronouns are new for a lot of people. So him overusing them, in my opinion, was his way of trying to be cautious and conscious of saying the right things. Sometimes things just flow out of our mouth. So I don't think it was him trying to overuse it, to make her feel away. I think he was doing it for himself to make sure that she felt comfortable. But again, we don't know what happened prior to that moment. What else did I want to say about that? The with SZA. That was a dumb comment, honestly. Like that was stupid. But I'm wondering, right? I'm wondering, is it an issue because L'Oreal said it? Or would you have chuckled and laughed if Charlamagne would have said it? Because Charlamagne has said so much out of line foul to people that type of comment sounds like it will go over people's heads if it came out of Charlamagne's mouth, and everything would be okay. And if that's the case, if everything will be okay, is it because they're the Breakfast Club and they have a larger following than the Morning Hustle? Which one would it be? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not going to give her a 100% pass for this, because I feel like people sit through interviews that they don't want to do all of the time, whether it's on television or it's on the radio, and they push through. And I think she did push through, but her energy was so apparent that she didn't want to be there. And I can't even say she was really protecting her energy based on how she was operating. Like, she didn't want to do it. And I'm like, I hate to say it. I feel like protecting your energy would have been like, hey, this was great. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna conclude the interview right here. And what they chose to do with that afterwards, I guess, would have been on them. But yeah, I agree. That's what's up. That scissoring comment was so stupid, like so stupid. But she had an issue from the moment she sat down. Now, I don't know if these folks pissed this woman off before she sat down or what, but the interview, from what I saw, definitely was giving, I don't want to be here. I feel like my team forced me to interview with y'all because some of the other people that I want to interview with, I they too booked for me right now, whatever. Like, I really didn't want to come here. Like, that's what it was given. Or it seemed like she probably had like a personal issue with them or something. I'm like, girl, what is going on? Like, at the end of the day, the interview, in my opinion, and y'all let me know y'all thoughts. This is my opinion is mine. It's not a word is bond type of opinion, so we can always have conversation and disagree. But my thing is this: when you're doing an interview, I understand we as humans have our own emotions. We get frustrated and everything, right? But I do feel like you promoting this album is a part of your job. So even when we do have bad days at work, we push through and we do the best that we can. And it's not going to come off as no attitude. And also, with you being an artist and a performer, for me, this interview is more so for the fans than anybody. And in addition, a lot of times people go out and do these interviews, not just for the fans, but for the new people that may not even be familiar with them or the project that they got coming up. So if I never saw the other interviews that you did this week with Sway or anybody else, I'm gonna be like, yeah, don't really care about anything else she got going on. Like, yeah, no, I'm good. Some people are just gonna write you off. Some people not gonna go the extra mile to look up more interviews and see what your thoughts are and see what type of person you really are. You know what I'm saying? So the energy she was given was terrible, but I also feel like they didn't really help, because they could have been like, I don't know if they took any commercial breaks. Sometimes people take commercial breaks during the interviews. And I'm like, they could have checked on her. Like, when they saw that she was off, when she first came in, like, hey, Kehlani, you good? Like, you straight? I mean, like, did we do something? Do we need to, you know what I'm saying? Because you always want to, I would think, make sure the person that you're interviewing feels comfortable. So check in with them and make sure they're good. And seeing that this interview, I don't know if it was recorded live. It sounds like it could have been recorded live. But again, if commercials were being ran, y'all could have checked on her in the intermission. And then also, if you knew you were going to chop up the interview and upload it to social media, then that could have also been a moment for y'all to check in on her and be like, yo, you good? Or whatever the case may have been, especially if she had that energy and she let's say she didn't come in with that energy, but she had the energy during the interview and then she left feeling the same way. That's like, you're going to want to check on the person, So thank you so much, Janae. Janae says that it was not live. So for me, I feel like, okay, at any moment they could have stopped and checked on her. Now, I don't know if they did or didn't check on, like, yo, you good? You know what I'm saying? You straight? Like, but at the end of the day, I mean, she also was there to do a job just as much as they were. Yeah, their comments are like, some of the comments were outlandish. She felt like they were overusing the word she, they. But when they play Sway, I'm like, they ain't saying that too much different than what Sway said. So I'm confused. So I mean, I don't know, girl. Like, I don't know. A lot of people are advocating for Kehlani, and that's, you got your right to advocate. But I'm just like, yeah, no. If you had a bad day, that's okay. Just say that. Like, I wasn't featuring it. I wasn't feeling it. And then at the end of the day, also say, apologies to my fans if it came off as whatever. But, you know, feel free to check out my other interviews and whoop de whoop. You know what I was like? Something's off. And I'm just not finna co-sign to be with no masses. Like, I'm just not. Yes, the radio heard it, but not the world. Got you. Thank you so much, Critic Chronicles. So again, I feel like there could have been a commercial break or a quick minute where they could have checked, like, yo, you good? Like, even when Head Crack was talking, she could have like been like, L'Oreal could have just been like, you straight? Oh, okay. I bet. You know what I'm saying? Hop back into it. Oh wow. Right, Jamie. Hell, even seemed like Sway crowned her for it in the interview. What else? Nah, she was having a celebrity privilege moment. So everyone in the comments, their pronouns are they and them. Yes, I agree. They could have checked into what they could have checked into, but then it's like, okay, I just think she posts what she posts wasn't truly what was wrong with her. Oh, what she had to say, she didn't really say what was wrong with her for real. Let's see what else. Let's see. Well, those are my thoughts, you know. So I see, like, for me, like, I think she said she does. Sometimes she's okay with being called she or her, but her pronouns are they and she, I believe. So even as I'm talking, I'm even saying her and she and they, because it's just flowing off so naturally. So when I think about it, for me, Head Crack, I think he was putting that in to be conscious for himself. Like, because I'm gonna do the same thing because I gotta make sure I break this up and make sure that I say, if not her, I say they. You know what I'm saying? Because they were sitting at that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a new learning process for him, in my opinion. But, you know, that's just what I think. You know, some people think you're supposed to just automatically get it. It's supposed to click. Like, these are my pronouns. Like, da. Right. But I just don't think people process things like that. So it's going to take time. But now that he knows, I think he should be actively working on that. And I feel like that is what Head Crack did in that moment. And she just felt like he was overdoing it. And it's like, girl, just say you didn't think highly of them as a program or whatever you want to call it, and you just weren't interested in being interviewed by these people for real. Right. Or immediately afterwards or something. Sway was cracking jokes about it, but she wasn't mad. I think she was mad that she got there early, but still had to wait for her actual interview time. And I could see that all day when she says, no, I did not get there any earlier than what I was supposed to. Yes, we hear you. You didn't get there any earlier than what you were supposed to, because that's probably the norm, right? But you would like to be seen earlier. You probably, well, I don't know if she knew that it was going to be live for the radio people. I would think that she did, but she probably just felt frustrated about that. Like, girl, y'all could have pre-recorded this and then just played it for the people. Like, I'm here early. So, I mean, that's what it was given. And again, for me, we all perceive it one way because we're on the outside looking in. So for the people that admire Kehlani and support her music and are fans of her, I feel like it would have been great if she would have at least given them some type of explanation about why she kind of acted the way that she acted. Because for me, a lot of the things that was mentioned in the message that she gave, a lot of the stuff that she said were things that were after the fact, right? So let me pull her message back up, right? Was this one it? Yeah, she says, from start to finish, the interview was cringy, a lot of mockery and invasive. She also goes to the when she responded back to L'Oreal, she says she was made a mockery of. She was like, I was asked, was I scissoring my friend? Had I even heard of my own girlfriend? Now, granted, they probably could have did a better job of research, but here's the other thing to me. Ma'am, your energy was there in the beginning before those questions were even asked. So for me, it seems like you're trying to make them be the issue and use that as an excuse for your actions and how you were feeling. To me, okay? Because a lot of the stuff that you mentioned were things that happened later in the interview. I'm still on your energy from the beginning of the interview, but that's just for me. You know what I'm saying? That's just for me. Girl, you had a bad day, that's okay. Get them next time. You know, get them next time. So, girl, this a dead, honey. Those are my thoughts about Miss Kehlani. Okay, so I just see it differently. I just see it a little different. That's all. That's all. All right. Like Lori said, they are a syndicated show, so they can't just stop their show to interview her like she's the president. Okay. Right. I agree with that. Like they can. I feel like she could have been well aware of that. Maybe she was just frustrated about something else. Maybe somebody did not accommodate her in the manner that she felt she should have been accommodated. And people be out here talking about privilege. I be feeling like celebrities be thinking they got privilege themselves too, just because they got a certain status or they got a little following, child. They think they're supposed to receive certain type of treatment. But I guess I blame America for that because they created that, making people think that because they're a celebrity, they should be treated, with rolling out the yellow brick road for them. Like, no, ma'am. Anyway. Let's keep going. Okay. Let's see. Side note, American radio personalities can learn a lot from personalities in Europe, research their craft, and ask questions they do not expect. Okay. All right. The way they introduced her was corny though, but she should have just pushed through and came out later to address it. I didn't think it was corny. You thought it was corny? But okay, let me say this too. I do not watch their show a lot to know the difference in how they introduce people, right? The different type of people they bring on the show. So yeah, I just feel like he was trying to make sure he said the stuff right. Not saying you're wrong, but those are just my thoughts.